Blog Talk Radio, the world's largest online radio network.
Welcome to Rex Sikes Movie Beat, conversations with filmmakers where we discuss everything film and television. Here on Movie Beat, you'll learn what to do and what not to do when it comes to making movies and TV, and we will talk to everyone behind the scenes and in front of the camera, and I'll provide you with the guests and the information you're going to want to have, whether you're a filmmaker or a fan. And so now let's move behind the scenes here at Movie Beat. My guest today, returning guest, is Mr. Paul Weber, casting director. I'm going to tell you more about him in just a moment. I'm thrilled to have him back, and also, the chat room is open. It is open, and we are live, and so if you're listening live, you can join us in the chat room. The official URL of Rex Sikes Movie Beat is my name, Rex Sikes. I'm your host. It's REXSIKES.com. You can listen from there live. You click the link inside my guest biography page. It says listen here, and you can listen live or you can listen archived, because all of these interviews, over 300 hours of professional filmmakers, directors, casting directors, actors, producers, writers, and more, everyone behind the scenes, are there archived for you. And you can listen anytime, 24/7. They're also available as podcasts at the iTunes Store. Download them to your favorite electronic device. Now, all I ask of you to do is tune in, listen, and share. Share it with your friends, your industry connections, share it near, share it far. And when you listen live or archived, please leave comments at the player window. Please rate and review the podcast. That helps us reach others and makes us more available and accessible on the Internet. So I really appreciate when you do that. Let me tell you about my guest. He's returning to the show. Paul Weber, CSA, casting director, is one of Hollywood's most respected casting directors, and he was the former longtime head of television casting and feature film consultant for MGM Studios. Paul Weber effectively moved between both mediums with ease. For series television, for example, Paul most notably cast the widely popular Stargate franchise for the Sci-Fi Network, and other TV credits include Spartacus, God of the Arena for Stars, and the recent Spartacus, She Spies, Poltergeist, Dead Like Me, The Outer Limits, Picture This, Legally Blondes, starring Ashley Tisdale, War Games 2 and Into the Blue, as well as The Initiation of Sarah, Cutting Edge for ABC Family. Lifetime credits include The Haunting on Sorority Row, starring Leighton Meester, and the pilot Flashpoint. For the big screen, he's advised on numerous MGM features, including the blockbuster James Bond franchise, Fame, Zookeeper with Kevin James, Hot Tub, Time Machine starring John Cusack, Red Dawn with Chris Hemsworth, Josh Whedon's Cabin in the Woods 3D, The Time Machine, starring Vin Diesel, and The Hobbit, directed by Peter Jackson, and so much more. He's now a fully independent casting director and producer. He's busier than ever, so that's why we're glad that he's here today. His current feature projects include Beulah, starring Dakota Fanning and Ryan Philippe, The Unexpected with Paul Giamatti, The Stupidest Angel, based on the best-selling novel by Christopher Moore. TV series projects include the L8 Complex, I believe premiered on the CW, and Spartacus Vengeance and Noir for the Starz Network. So without any further hesitation, I'm going to bring Paul on, and he'll tell us and catch us up to more of what he's doing. I also want to say that we're having Paul come into Milwaukee, Wisconsin on October 13th to run a program, a casting director program, seminar, workshop, whatever you want to call it, for actors primarily and directors who want to learn how to be more professional, want to learn this business, the nuts and bolts of how to book more work, how to cast better, and make a difference in their careers. So we're going to have Paul talk a bit about that too. It's Milwaukee, Wisconsin, October 13th. It's a Saturday. If you want to know more about it, you can email me right through the website here at rexsikes.com. Go ahead and hit the contact page and say, I want to know more about the Paul Weber workshop. I want to attend, and we'll send you out the information and the registration. But without any further hesitation, let me bring Paul on. How you doing, Paul?
Hey, Rex, you are a smooth talker, I tell you. You're good at this.
Well, thank you, sir. I have a little bit of a frog or a little bit of a tickle in my throat today, so, and if I sound particularly nasal or anything, I appreciate that. Thank you.
No, and you have a memorable, distinctive voice. Let's just leave it at that.
Okay. We'll leave it at that. How you been?
I'm good. I'm really good. Thanks so much.
That's very cool. That's very cool. So how's Hollywood? We're in Milwaukee, and it is a beautiful fall day. What's it like out there for you?
Well, I'm looking forward to coming out there. Here it's going to hit 100 again.
Oh, cool. I love that.
It is, well, not so cool.
No, it's hot. It's hot.
It's actually really hot. So, it's funny here. People, complain. It's actually great weather, but, it's hot, but people, complain. Here we are in the middle or beginning of October, and we've got 100 degrees. So, I'll take it. It's beautiful outside, and, every day is a good day, it seems to be in Los Angeles, because we're just blessed with this kind of nice sunny weather most of the time. But I love fall weather, so I'm looking forward to checking out Milwaukee. I hear it's going to be, I think, in the 50s or 60s.
It could be. It could be. We have had Octobers that are in the 70s and 80s. We've had Octobers that are in the 40s. So it could be anything. Right now, I don't know what it is. I didn't check, but I stepped outside in a T-shirt a little while ago, saw my kids off to school, and it was pleasant. It was a nice day. But my guess is it could probably be around the 50s. So be sure to bring something warm.
I will. I'll be layered.
Yeah, be layered. Well, that's a Californian for you.
That's right.
we in California, most of our wardrobe's in their trunk.
Yeah, that's right. I'll be layered with 3 T-shirts instead of 2 when I come to school.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Right.
Well, let me start off by saying you've done a lot of traveling lately, and you do a lot of these programs around the country, and not just around the country, but around the world. And so let's start off by first saying the purpose of the program, why you do these educational programs for actors, what that's all about. And then let's talk about where you've been with the program.
For sure. I think what I find so often is so many actors, even actors who go through professional training programs, come to Los Angeles and they are at a total loss as to how to negotiate the landscape here, as far as finding agents, as far as looking for the right classes, and most of all, in terms of how to approach a professional audition. They never got anything like that in acting school. And I think acting schools are terrific. I think that's where actors get their foundation. But there is a bit of a disconnect between what they get in foundation and education and training for an actor, and then the practical realities of having to audition in the room for a casting director or director or producer and bringing up an A game based on their training, but the tips and the tools they're going to need to actually compete successfully in a very competitive market.
Well, okay. I mean, I think workshopping is great, and I know a lot of people spend their lives workshopping, because they should, frankly. I mean, if you're a professional actor, you continually stretch and work yourself out in the same way. If you're a professional athlete, you go to the gym. I think that's important. They want to get so many people I know go to L.A. I get letters all the time saying, I'm going to move to L.A. I get this from all around the country. I'm sure you do too. I'm going to move to L.A. How do I get an agent? And I always think that's not necessarily the first thing you want to do when you get to Los Angeles.
Unless you come off of a high-profile Broadway show, or you have a boatload of professional theater credits, or you've done some independent films that have actually created a bit of buzz in local film festivals, so that you can come to the table in Los Angeles and meet agents who feel like there's something here that they can market. Typically, that doesn't happen until you arrive, because you don't have that resume and you're just starting out. And I typically tell actors, listen, don't come here expecting to get an agent right away. Come here and learn, build your foundation, build your contacts, work, train, develop a resume, even if it's non-union, and that's perfectly okay. You can do webisodes, you can do short films, you can do independent non-union films. You can build a reel for yourself so that when the time comes, and it may be a year, Rex, maybe 2 years before you have a portfolio that you can actually approach an agent with and say, hey, this is what I got. This is what you can use to pitch me to casting directors. This is what I can show you that will give you confidence in me that I am marketable and I'm ready to get out there and professionally audition. When that time comes, and it may be a couple of years, then you'll have a nice portfolio to show. But actors seem to be so anxious in getting out to Los Angeles and getting an agent right away. And you got to realize that agents have lots of clients, and many times they're only looking to add clients that they feel that they can actually make 10% off of, and they feel that that actor is a marketable, and I hate to say it, but a commodity for them, that they feel that they have a chance at increasing their business. And that doesn't always happen when someone gets right off the plane or train or
boat.
Yeah, right.
It's really true. I mean, when you think about it, and I'm gonna be frank here and say, I think that a lot of agents who don't even get many of their clients' work, and I don't want to disparage any agents, but what I'm saying is, isn't it fairly true that unless the agent or agency has something that the directors and producers and casting directors want, they're struggling too. They're trying to break into the business in many ways just as much as actors are. And
absolutely right.
So if you made $1,000, they get $100. So for every $1,000 you make, I mean, if you're making hundreds of thousands, that might be significant. But if you make $10,000 in a year, they've worked all year for you to get $1,000.
Absolutely, and you have to. I mean, at some point, you really do absolutely need an agent. You should have an agent, and it's important to have an agent. And they're on your team, just like a good manager would be as well. But you're right about that. In LA, theatrically, there's a 90-10 split in terms of what an agent gets, 10%, and an actor gets, which is the remainder of the 90%. So you've got to just figure out how much time are they spending percentage-wise on your career. And if they're getting 10%, you got to count on, that's probably what they're giving to you, because they've got other clients as well that need their energy and attention, plus they have their own lives and their own business and everything else that's happening with them to deal with. So you can't rely on an agent. Just because you have an agent doesn't mean you're going to get in the room. They're just part of your team. You've got to be able to arm that agent with the confidence and the portfolio that you can bring to them that will excite them enough to go out and pitch you and get you into the room. And that's not easy to do these days, because you're right. Casting directors are always, we will call you, if you're the agent or the manager, looking for someone that we probably won't be able to get in the room, but that's the person we want in the room. They will be pitching us an actor that we've never heard of before. And that's their uphill battle. And the only way they can do that is if that actor is ready, prepared, trained, and has something to show, rather than just, I just got here from, let's pick a town, Milwaukee.
From Milwaukee.
Yeah, right.
I know people who move out from Milwaukee all the time.
They do, and I hope they understand what they're getting into, and if they don't, they'll find out. And it may take them a little bit longer to sort of figure that out, and that's okay. I was 18 when I first came to LA for the very first time and spent 5 or 6 months out here, and the learning curve was, I have stories, and some of them I won't even tell them on the air, but it was a real uphill. But it was an adventure, and at 18, I was willing to take some time out from school and come out here and check it out. And I didn't mind sleeping on a couch or on the floor, and I couldn't do that now, but I did it then, and it was an adventure. And then I realized what I didn't know, but I didn't know what I didn't know until I got out here. And then I realized what I didn't know, and I decided I needed to go back, get some training, and then come out here and do it the right way. So I'm not going to tell anyone, don't move out here, but I want to make sure that I caution them to make sure that they are as prepared as possible before they do, just to save themselves some time, money, and heartache, so they don't make some mistakes.
Well, I think there's a couple of things. One is, what you're doing is educating, helping, you're mentoring, you're assisting people in understanding the business and the approach to the business, and you're telling people, hey, get some experience before you try and, get an agent. Now, not only are what everything we discussed before, but you you could get a big agent, and that may or may not be the best thing for you. You can get a small agent, that may or may not be the best thing for you either. But when you're ready and you've got the credits that you were talking about, and you've got the experience, and you've got something that's marketable that they can sell, then you can find the right agent for you. And that may take some trial and error, but ideally, for somebody who has a career or wants a career, they're going to need to find the right person to sell them, not just any person.
That's right, and I think when actors first get out here, they're anxious just to get any agent, and I think it's important to, vet the agent. You're interviewing them just in the same way that they will be interviewing you. You need to make sure it's a good fit, that there's a relationship there, that you understand each other's needs and your goals, and that you work as a team. It's really important to think of an agent as being on your team, and that they are working hard for you. You've also got to work hard for them too. So it's got to be the right, professional and personality mix as well.
Right. Now, we're talking a lot about agents, but I mean the point is the actor's preparation, the actor being ready for their move to Los Angeles, or they're embarking on a career if they come from Los Angeles. So let me ask you a question from the chat room, and this person asks, they say, Paul, have you called in actors that are unrepresented, that whose work you've been impressed with, say at a class or a workshop, or do you strictly work only with managers and agents?
Well, I tell you what, when I teach, I've got to be careful here, because when we teach, there's no guarantee of any kind of a job offering, so I have to make that very clear. These are educational classes, but when we do meet actors in a class, these are actors that we absolutely keep in mind for projects down the line if they've impressed us. And the reality is, if I would rather go to my files of actors that I have seen and like, rather than necessarily put out a breakdown for a small role. Let's say it's a bartender role. If I put out a breakdown for that role, I will receive 1,000 submissions, most of which are actors that I've never seen, never worked with, don't know, for what could be a 2 or 3 line role. And I would much rather go to my file of actors that I've seen in showcases, in classes, in plays, in short films, in webisode series, or people that I've met along the way that I would prefer to bring in, because I at least have a sense of what their work is like, and I know them and I've worked with them. So absolutely, that's our hope, that we continue to find along the way talent that we can use in our productions.
That's when all said and done. I mean, if you had to, you cast somebody, maybe you don't know so well or that you don't like so much, but pretty much, I mean, you're a human like everybody else. I suspect that you want to cast somebody that you like, somebody that you know is going to reflect well on you too. They're going to be professional. They're going to do a good job. The professor, the producer, and other people are going to be pleased with, as opposed to, you might, or you might have to take a chance with somebody that you don't know but as much. But would that be fair to say?
It's challenging out there, because we are given so little time typically to cast. We always wish we had more time. If you're doing a pilot, it's maybe 4 or 5 weeks. Episodic moves very quickly over a 3 or 4 day period. We can't see everyone we wish we did, so we end up relying upon the actors that many times we've worked with before. We know their work. We've seen them along the way. Yes, we will take chances on brand new people, but typically if we're in a crunch, we bring in people we have met and worked with before, actors we know we can trust. We like to work with people we know. We like to work with people we like. We like to work with people we can trust that will make us look good in the room, that we can bring directly into a producer without having to go through a pre-read process simply because we don't have the time. So, sure, and I think it's that way in a lot of businesses. I
think it's that way probably in every business, frankly.
It is. It is.
If all things given evil, if all things were equal and you can, who would you choose to be around? Would probably be the person you know best. I don't mean that you're best friends, but that you know the most, and who you like being around. And
right.
You know that I mean, I can't think of another business that says, no, give me someone I don't like, who's unprofessional, and I know nothing about, and I'm going to put him in a job.
Right. We there's so much money at stake that we don't want to make mistakes.
Right,
we want to make sure that we bring in the best actor we can and give our producers and directors the best choices we can. And in a pinch, we typically go to the actors, which is why casting directors are out there, because over time they develop relationships and a file system of actors that are great go-to actors. And that's why producers and directors and networks and studios hire us, because they know that we have those contacts. They know that we have those relationships with agents, so that we can, with taste and discretion, bring in the best actors we can as quickly as we can for any project that we're working on.
I want to ask you about why do you suppose, and I mean, I know a lot of actors, I'm an actor, the whole thing, and we all want fame yesterday. It's kind of like a bodybuilder saying, I want the body of Arnold Schwarzenegger, but I don't want to lift weights. I just want to already have it. I want, and yet they've got to go through, they know they have to go through all this sweat and the tears and the strain and the effort and all that good stuff in order to get the body of a weightlifter. But a lot of actors think, maybe because they hear the myth, they think, well, I'm going to be famous. I'm just going to move to LA, I'll take my chances, and they want fame yesterday. Do you find that? I mean, they don't understand how long it actually takes?
Well, the whole premise of that is always disturbed me a little bit, because if you're coming out here for fame, you're out here for the wrong reasons to begin with. And unfortunately, it's the reality of a lot of people who come out here seeking that. But if that's all you're looking for, it's actually a relatively, I think, a fairly shallow approach to the business, and you can end up being very disappointed very quickly. I think there's a reason why, and I'm not equating being a doctor with being an actor, but they're both completely different professions. However, when you train to become or go to school to become an actor or a lawyer or a doctor or an engineer, there's time you have to put in. Everybody knows that. And I think sometimes actors feel like, I want to take a little bit of a shortcut here. I know that for most professions you have to go through this process and this education process. I don't really want to do that because I'm really cute and I won a contest or I was a captain of my football team. I've got personality. I know that if I just show up in LA, they're going to discover that and I'll be able to hang out with cool people and be famous and go to cool parties and make movies with people I've always admired and why not? I mean, look at me. And then you get off the plane there and you realize that the guy unloading your luggage looks 10 times better than you would in a tank top or the girl serving coffee at Starbucks looks like a model out of a Elle magazine or something, and you realize, oh my God, it's just not about having personality and a look. What else is missing? What else is missing? And then you realize, you've got to be able to put in the time, and you also have to start developing relationships, because just like we mentioned, we like to work with people we know or have seen work before, and that just doesn't happen overnight. And because it is such a relationship-driven business and a personality-driven business, you have to be able to develop that over time. And we need to know, as casting directors, that you're in it for the long haul, and you're there to stick it out for the long haul, and you're disciplined and committed and completely devoted to growing your craft as an actor. And that takes time, and it takes time because there's so many people who are out here wanting to do that. So there's this sort of illusory idea that if you just kind of show up because you've read a People magazine story where that's happened once or twice out of a million, and you think, well, that can be me. And those are the exceptions, Rex. definitely not
absolutely.
people.
Absolutely. I think so many people embark on pursuing Hollywood as a dream because of the PR myth-building machines around, someone's discovered at a restaurant or on the street, or, they happen to be in a class, or they, made a movie like, say, Blair Witch or Paranormal Activity. Again, exceptions to the rule. If they weren't the exceptions, we would hear about these things every single day. I mean, they would be commonplace, but they aren't. What's commonplace is that you can expect to work, you can expect to be rejected, you can expect to meet lots of people and hopefully develop the kind of relationships that get you further faster, but it's not going to, for 99.9% of the human people out there, I don't think, you'll ever, all the overnight successes, the Hollywood cliche is 10 years.
And also if you do get that stroke of luck, and it does happen, and
yes, it
typically
does.
happens to young actors, new actors, where there's a less of a level of expectation because they certainly haven't developed the resume. And occasionally, agents and managers do look for brand new, emerging, developmental talent. But there's something to those, even those actors when they come here. There's a certain discipline that they bring. There's a certain laser-like devotion to getting what they are fighting for, which is, a career in this business that actors and managers can see. And they, I was in Denver a couple of weeks ago, and I was with a director there, and I was actually conducting a workshop there, and we were having dinner. And the waiter came up, and this guy looked like a movie star. He just had, there was a visual about him. So I looked at, I looked at Mark and I said, why don't we just talk to this guy? I'm just curious what his story is. And because, look, I mean, this guy does a lot of placement for models as well, too. And I said, how do you feel about this guy? And he goes, he's got a great look. I don't know if he can act. Well, let's talk to him, but he certainly has a great look. We talked to this guy for 2 or 3 minutes. No personality that we could see that popped off, the page for us. There was a little bit of a lack of confidence. There didn't seem to be a real. We didn't see it. There may be, but we didn't capture it, and we gave him the opportunity to show us. And he, told us a little bit about the menu, which wasn't terribly exciting, and off he went. And then we looked at each other and kind of shrugged our shoulders, and we said, that happens a lot. They're just, we see a look, and there's no follow-through there. And I think that when actors and managers see something and it sparks their imagination, they're looking for that. So do you have to be, a graduate of a major performing arts university or training center to come to L.A.? No, it helps. But sometimes we take chances. But even those people, and that's the point I'm taking forever to get around to, even those actors we need to feel like there is huge potential there, and that they are in their heart and soul. They want this very badly, and they're willing to do what it takes to get to that place. And we don't see that often enough. And it's more than just passion. It is really understanding and listening to the people around you and taking their advice and following through. Actors tend not to follow through many times when they first get out here. They get distracted, and the ones that we are looking for and managers and agents are looking for are the ones that are ready to work and devote themselves and then begin to progress quickly along the way. And then we feel like, here's someone that is green but has potential, and that's what we like too, especially if there's no training. But I tell you, it's still very rare. We will tend to take chances more so on people who have put in a little bit of time, know the landscape a little bit, and can hit the ground running rather than crawling.
I want to follow that point up. I just want to reinforce for people who may be joining us that you are going to be doing a workshop in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Saturday, October 13th. You're going to be there assisting actors in just the kinds of things that we're talking about and a lot more, and we'll talk more about that. But if you want to sign up or you want more information about this program in Milwaukee, October 13th, and I say it's a must-attend, just email me right through the website. rexsikes.com is my website. Go to the contact page, hit the email button. I don't give it out over the air just because of spam and things like that. So if you want more information, just go ahead, email me, or find me on Facebook and message me. And that's another way. I'll get you the information straight away. And know that there's only a few spots left, so you do hurry. But Paul, here's something that I found very interesting about what you said. I get a lot of letters, a lot of different things from people, or people ask me stuff, and somebody close to me actually said they had an opportunity to have lunch with a very hot director right now, somebody major big released movie, right? And they had lunch and they sat down and they were able to pitch their idea to the director, and the director said, "Well, I like it, but I would do this with it, and I would change this, and I would do that." And so they called me up to tell me about this, and I said, "Have you done what he suggested?" And they said, "Well, no, not yet." And I said, "You're going to do it." They said, "Well, I got these other things." I said, "If I were you, what I would do is I would immediately make the changes, and then I would call him and say, 'Hey, I've made those changes. Would you like to see him?' And I said, even if he doesn't want to see him, he will take from that you're a person who listened to him and took his advice, as opposed to the countless hundreds he probably sits down with who he gives advice to who never take his advice and who never follow up on it." And I think you're very correct in saying that a lot of actors just don't do the follow through. Where they get somebody says, "Hey, you should take a picture like this, or you should wear your hair that way," or something. They go, "Oh, okay," and then they don't do it. But the ones who do it I think have a better edge. They got a better understanding of the business, and of course you want to do it from somebody that you trust. But take advice from people in the know. But what do you think? I mean,
that's given, I think, in every business, Rex, as well too, and actors are in a personality game. They're in a personality business as well too. Those impressions are important. The meetings you take with people are very important. The follow-through, I don't know, I shouldn't be impressed, but I'm always impressed when I get an email or a follow-through or a thank you or when I say, you can contact me with a question if you need some advice. I'm here to help and mentor in any way I can. I'm kind of shocked when actors don't follow through with that. I expect them to, and I understand they want to be careful with my time, and they always say that. If you have a moment, I want to thank you so much for the advice you gave, and I want us to keep in touch. They can leave it at that, or they can ask a specific question, and I'm happy to help them because I was in their shoes, at one point when I was starting out. So I certainly appreciate anybody who can legitimately give me some advice and to be there as a backstop for me if they run into a question that they need answered. So it should be second nature. It's part of what you need to do, especially in this business, and it requires a certain level of discipline. And I think I've mentioned this before, maybe even on the show, that this business attracts a relatively undisciplined group of people because they're chasing a dream and they haven't really focused on how to get there. They just have this idea that this is what they want, and it's going to be a fun, and for some reason they think it's an easy entree into success, and it attracts dreamers and people who wish they could and wannabes, and yet those are the people who are most subject to disappointment because they come here with a dream, but they haven't quite figured out how to follow through on it. And I think that's so important for actors to realize that you're in a business. There is no structure. You're not punching a clock from 9 to 5. You are waking up in the morning, and you have to plan your own schedule. No one's going to do it for you, and you've got to work every day at improving yourself, physically, vocally, your craft. Photographers, agents, managers, meetings, directors, producers. If you've got an idea, you've got a project, you want to do a webisode, you've got to go out there and pitch that. Find actors that you like to work with. You find them in acting classes. You find them in seminars. And you start surrounding yourself with a team beyond your agent and manager, and especially if you don't have one, of like-minded, creative people who want to work together and build their dreams together. And I think it's a collaborative effort, and actors should feel that that's just part of the business, and it's a part of the business they should want to do, because they want people to know that they have something to contribute artistically.
Well, that's very cool. So, in addition, the days of James Dean are over. The insecure, well, I don't know that he was insecure, but you know what I'm saying? The person coming into the office, shy, troubled, that kind of thing. I mean, all the stuff that we have read or heard or know about, the actors back in those days, it's a different set of expectations now. Come in prepared, come in, on top of your game.
Well,
correct?
Well, that's I mean, the James Dean, that analogy is interesting. I think part of that was also about the mystery and the danger that he sort of came into the room with, and I think it was masked with a certain insecurity, but it also made us. It was also that kind of personality is such a fascinating one as well too. And of course it was coupled with this amazing physicality as well too, and it seemed like there was something underneath the surface that was going to explode at any moment. And then, that's incredibly exciting to anyone to see. But you're right. I mean, these days, I think that the insecurity of an actor is not always your best friend, and I think it's very destructive to the creative process to come into the room and feel less than secure and less than confident in what you want to try to accomplish there. And actually, last week I was on a radio talk show with Dr. Shirley Impellizzeri, who's a PhD psychologist out here, and the Dr. Shirley Show, and we talked about performance anxiety and how challenging it is for anyone who's artistic to go in front of people and bear themselves emotionally and attempt to be completely accessible to perfect strangers in a very short period of time. And it is a challenge, and I can only say the way to moderate those jitters and those nerves is to just get in the game and start doing it. Get into classes where you can do mock auditions, where you challenge yourself with new material in front of people, in front of the class. The more you do it, the easier it gets. And the reality is, you came out here to perform, right? You came out here to show people your stuff. Of course you want to be able to go in there and show them what you can do. And the only way you can do that is to step out of yourself, get out of your own way, get out of your own head, and be there in the moment, be prepared, listen to what the casting director or the director has to tell you, and breathe. Something that I have to remind myself to do right now is actually take a breath and gather your thoughts. And I tell you, just that one breath before you begin an audition can make the difference between rushing past a moment and not being in the moment, getting ahead of yourself, and being there right at the moment and being present. And that's what we like to see actors do. And it's something that does take time. I think everyone gets nervous when they have to perform. I watch the Olympics, and here are these amazing athletes who've trained all their lives, and occasionally you see a crack in the veneer, and all of a sudden they don't perform quite the way they wish they had, and that could be due to a number of reasons. But you want to make sure that you come in as much as an elite athlete as you can, as prepared as you can, and I think what helps most is practice. Doing it over and over again to the point where you feel you've got a handle on it.
Oh, that's excellent. That is excellent. I have got to say that whenever I've had the opportunity to sit in a casting session or watch casting directors work from the vantage point of fly on the wall, or when I've been a reader, or when I've been able to videotape for someone, or when I've been in a program like your program as a spectator and watch you work with actors, or if I put on my director's hat and I watch you work with actors, or if I put on my actor hat and I've watched you work with actors, it is the most incredible place to be, is to be in that room and to see what goes on in the front of the room with actors and how you relate to them and what you do and the advice, the mentoring that you give them. But there is such takeaway, such value, you know, and it's amazing because when I was a young actor in Hollywood, you know, and young as well chronologically, the opportunity to do this never occurred to me. The notion that, hey, maybe I should you know, call these cast directors and ask them if I could be a reader for them or something, never ever occurred. It was I, the actor, versus them, the casting director. But that opportunity to be in a workshop now, or as a spectator, or to be in the workshop as a participant, to me is one of the most incredible, and I say this with all sincerity and honesty, it is one of the most incredible, opportune, advantageous experiences as an actor, director that I can think I've had, because it really is beginning to see a mindset coming from the other side, the professional side, from your side, from what you look at and the kind of decisions that you make when you are evaluating talent. And I appreciate that so much. And I'm so thrilled about the opportunity to do that again in Milwaukee. You know, and I encourage people to sign up and to do the program. But can you talk about that? What happens in the workshop? What do you do? You know, when you relate to actors, and what are you looking for? You know, when you're seeing their scene work and things like that. How do you advise them? What can the listeners get from this now?
Well, I mean, I love what you were just talking about, that sort of us versus them mentality, which is really in the actor's mind. We're there to help nurture and bring out the best performance possible, and get you in touch as much with yourself as possible and what we're looking for. It only helps the casting director when the actor performs in a way that makes us look at each other in the room and say, this is someone we want to see again. So it's also, you're right, when actors, and I started this way too, when I came to town as an actor, the first thing I did was intern in a casting office.
Oh, there you go.
You know, I needed to demystify that process because I didn't understand what it was like to audition for film and television. I was a stage-trained actor. I didn't have any idea what that medium was. The only way I was going to be able to do that is not be terrified and get a chance in audition for someone. I wasn't ready for that. I wanted to be on the other side of the camera and watch other actors audition so that I could see what they go through, and slowly that demystification started to happen, and I realized, wow, they're there to help us. They're there to bring out the best in us, and that's why in my office I try to make the room as comfortable as possible for actors, for everyone in there, so that creatively you can access yourself more easily than coming into a room that's judgmental or cold or irritable. I try to make sure there's a fully stocked bar for everybody. I'm joking. Massage. But no, I do try to make sure that it is a comfortable room to come into, and in the workshop, that's what we also work on. We get actors. I get actors on their feet. We talk about the process first of all. I try not to spend too much time talking, but we do talk about what the expectations are of casting directors, how important it is to be prepared, how to be prepared, and then for those actors, whether they've had foundation training or not, we actually take scene work, and this is scene work that I give to actors who are trained out here, and I just want to see where their instincts take them, how they approach the scene, just even instinctively, and that can tell me a lot about an actor's level of imagination, their reading skills, their co-reading skills, their ability and their willingness to take risks, to not be afraid to make mistakes, and not even to think of them in terms of mistakes, just choices that may not be as effective as other choices. And that tells me a lot about an actor. And I've seen untrained but actors with a great willingness and a complete kind of devotion to going for it, to taking a chance with material that makes me feel like, wow, with the right training and with some time learning technique, this actor has a real natural ability to look at a scene or do an improv or have an interview with a casting director where we see personality and we see something that just pops from God knows where, but it's there, and that's what I really love to develop and see in actors. And I see it everywhere I go. You know, there's a reason there's that popular show out there called America's Got Talent, because it's just not, it's not in L.A., and it's not just in New York. It is everywhere, and that's part of our job as well, too, is to seek out talent wherever it is and help nurture and develop it. And it's one of the reasons why I love to teach, too, because there are things that we can do in a class that I just don't have time to do when I'm actually professionally auditioning actors, because we expect them to come in with it when they come into the room in Los Angeles. Sadly, many of them aren't prepared to do that, but we expect it of professional actors. And when I travel and teach, I know that they're coming from a place where they haven't had the experience and the Los Angeles level of opportunity for training that they might have if they'd come out here. So I know they're starting from a different level. But boy, part of it, and the most important part, is to see a level of commitment and a willingness to take risks, and that's what I get actors to feel comfortable doing in a workshop, to give them permission to go ahead and say, listen, you're not here to impress me or anybody here. You're here to do the work, and it's fun, and all I'm asking you folks to do is just take a leap. You know, trust and take a leap, and we'll all do it together, and we'll have fun along the way, and it'll be a great opportunity to learn more about each other as well, too.
Well, that's very, very cool. I'm going to have to take a break right now. We'll come back and talk about that. That is truly, truly exciting, and I want to follow up. But let me take the short break, and we'll be right back with Mr. Paul Weber. His website is paulwebercasting.com. It's paulwebercasting.com. Be sure to check it out. He's got other workshops in other areas. You can go there and find out what he's got available for actors, but do yourself a favor and check that out. I've also found out that the link that we've been using to promote the show today is the wrong link. Somewhere it got hijacked, and I'm not sure where. And so if people who are listening live want to retweet the correct link to where they're listening, I'd appreciate that. All right, so you're listening to Rex Sikes Movie Beat. It's the official URL is rexsikes.com, and that's my name, rexsikes.com. And all of the interviews you can listen live and or archived from the website. Also, they're available as podcasts. Be sure to do that. I've got a lot more incredible guests coming up in the future, next week, the weeks that come. So be sure to stay tuned. Check it out on Facebook as well, Rex Sikes Movie Beat, because I list who my guests are there and on my profile. But also, I want to tell you about something that's going on right now. I'd be remiss if I didn't. I'm directing a movie called Serum. It's actually a TV pilot. It's gorgeous. It looks absolutely wonderful. It's beautiful. I'm so pleased. I can't wait until you get to see it. But we're doing some crowdfunding right now on the project at Indiegogo. It's Indiegogo.com, and you can search for Serum. And if you can go there, take a look at some of the video we have up, and look at the gallery of photos we have, which are stills taken from the footage. I think you'll really like it. If you can donate, we got great perks and rewards to give to you. Nobody donates and doesn't get something back. When you donate or when you give, you do so for items. It's like a PBS, telethon, fundraising telethon. That's what we're doing. And we'd like you to check it out at Indiegogo.com. You can find it at Serum the Movie on Facebook. It's a Facebook page too. But help us in our campaign. We've got some days left. You can still donate. You can still get your perks. And support us and our cast and crew in that effort. We certainly appreciate it. All right, and without any, again, further hesitation, we're coming back to Paul. I think it is such a cool opportunity to have access to someone like yourself, to have access to you, to be able to get some guidance and some information in a program that allows people that leg up, to give them that cutting edge, to give them that what they need to know and what they need not to do when they go into a room, and to have that experience. And apart from meeting you, I think the other thing about the workshop is that they get to meet you as a human too, which I think a lot of actors, when we walk into offices, we're very intimidated. We again, that us versus them mentality. And when they get that there's actually a friend in that room, somebody rooting for them, I think that makes all the difference in the world. And so, there's a demystifying thing about being in a workshop where you get to meet a person, eye to eye, and then you get to, do the workshop, and go through it and get the mentoring that comes from you. And I think that's just, again, it's such a valuable opportunity. I hate for anyone to miss out on it. So,
well, the interesting thing too is for actors to also think of, even in their own cities. Let's say Milwaukee. This isn't just for actors who are looking to come to Los Angeles.
Right.
This is actually for actors who may have commitments in their own towns that will preclude them from moving out to LA right away, or maybe they don't even have that on their radar. They just want to improve their audition game so that they can more effectively audition where they are. So that if there are commercials, films, independent films, anything that they can audition for, union or non-union, they're going to have some tools here that will give them a one-up on actors who haven't had an opportunity to look at the audition process in a way that they hadn't before, that will actually improve their audition skills.
Awesome. Now, having said all this, the director, I mentioned sitting there as a director and watching. What do you? If I'm a director and I come to your workshop, I'm not an actor. I don't want to be in a friend. How do I benefit? What do I get to see? Because again, as a director, I look at what your sensibilities are when you're working with people, and the kind of advice that you give them. And for me, sitting there, I go, oh, that's interesting. I got to keep that in mind if I'm casting, or if I don't have a casting director, if I'm working with a casting director, that kind of thing. So, what do you say for the director out there who's listening, who goes, yeah, I do that. I don't act, but yeah, I do that.
Well, I love having other professionals in the audience as well, too. Some participate, others just audit the class and want to observe, especially directors who many times are technically trained to make their day, make their budget, shoot an episode, or shoot a short film in a certain period of time, but they are sort of flummoxed by these creative, vulnerable creatures called actors, and they're not quite sure how to approach them, how to work with them, and I think it happens in Los Angeles. It's just not, it's everywhere that actors lament the experience with directors on the set, that they don't get what they wish they could get from them. And it's many times because the directors don't have the time. They hire actors who are camera ready so that they can just fit them in, and they don't have to spend a lot of time on the set with them, which is another reason why actors need to be prepared, because they have to expect that directors won't have the time to work with them, and they hire actors because they're ready to go. But it's also because many directors haven't trained as actors. Some have, the better ones have. Others haven't, and I think they feel a bit intimidated by actors, just as actors can be intimidated by directors. And this gives them an opportunity to watch and maybe get some trigger tools that can help them connect with actors in a way they couldn't before. So directors come up to me all the time and say, wow, this is going to help me so much directing this play. This is going to help me with my short film. I didn't quite know how to approach an actor, the vulnerability that's involved, the suspicion on both sides. I want to make them feel like they can trust me, I can trust them, and now I've got a greater understanding of the process of auditioning and the process of actually connecting with an actor. that's going to help me become a better director. So, I love having professionals like that also in the room.
Well, that is very cool. No, it does. I mean, it makes a big difference. So let me ask you about first. I know you've been traveling to other places, into Africa and things like that, but you also have a production company that you're up and running. So can you tell us about that?
Yeah, myself and a couple of other partners have opened a small production company, and we did it, I think, the right way. We got our first client, and then we opened our production company. So we were able to open our doors this week. We're actually moving in, and we are our first project is providing online content for a brand new, and we're very excited about this. I wish it was my idea, but it came from another source, and a very good group of people are building a website that is going to be an entertainment, informational website. It will be subscription-based like IMDb Pro is and others are, but it will be a full-service informational website for actors at any stage of their career to access filmmakers, interviews, written video interviews with agents, managers, casting directors, filmmakers, sort of a one-stop shop for how to get into the business. If you're interested in becoming an editor or an AD or a cinematographer, they are building this out so that anybody who's interested in the profession can access interviews and resources from professionals. It's not up yet, but the site will be called theindyinsider.com. That's INDY insider.com. I believe they're looking to launch in November, December, with a full launch at the beginning of the year. And our company is providing some of the online content. I'll actually be doing some of the interviews myself, and the company is providing the content to help launch the company based on my experience and my partner's experience in the business. So we're really excited about that, and that's outside of my work as a casting director. And I'm excited to be working with a couple of wonderful filmmakers on some upcoming projects. One is a film for Jim Sheridan, who is an Academy Award-nominated director who did In the Name of the Father and In America, and a wonderful, interesting man who's had an illustrious career as a director. And then something for Scott Calvert, who directed The Basketball Diaries, went off and started his own production company, and now he's back to directing, and I'm working on a project with him as well, too. So I'm very excited to be working with these filmmakers and starting my own production company where we'll be looking for our own material and looking for financing for some of the projects that I'm involved in wanting to develop as well.
Very cool. Very cool. And then let's also talk about South Africa and some of the other areas that you've trained in and taught in.
Yeah, that was a wild adventure. I had such an incredible time working and traveling in South Africa. It's a dream of mine. I've always dreamed of going there because it seemed like such a mysterious place and came from such a sort of a rich and sometimes troubled history. And it's at the tip of Africa. I just think about it. South Africa, it just brings up these incredible images of, wild wildebeests walking into major cities and, I don't know. I'm going on a tangent here. But that's what, I didn't know what to expect, in other words. And I found it an amazing, wonderful country with especially in the workshop situations, great passion from actors who would give their left eye to have a chance to come to the United States. And I tell actors here all the time, you guys are so lucky, whether you're in Milwaukee or whether you're in L.A., to have this dream that you'd like to realize and already be in the United States. where it can be realized, where all you need to do is buy an airline ticket to get to Los Angeles, and you can start studying and potentially working within a period of time. It's not that way in South Africa. Here are very passionate actors who haven't really had the opportunity to learn audition skills or have the opportunity to audition necessarily for all the opportunities that we have here in the United States. That being said, South Africa is an emerging market. It's an area that we went to scout when we were looking for leads in Spartacus, and I saw at that time that there was great potential there. They have a few places where they can learn foundation, and beyond that, it is their desire and their passion was to find out what we're looking for in the audition room from an American casting perspective. I believe I was the first casting director to ever teach down there, and I think that they were so hungry for the experience and the knowledge that they would gain so that they could actually compete in a world market now, because we are looking everywhere for talent, and South Africa is one of those great new frontiers for casting, and because of the incentives down there, film companies and television producers are looking in South Africa as a place to shoot. So I found great passion, great commitment, and a great willingness to take a chance by actors who had never had this experience before. So I had a great time working with them, and I keep in touch with these actors all the time, and I look forward to going back again.
Well, now you brought up that's wonderful to go to South Africa and have that experience. But you also brought up another point, and that is that worldwide search for talent. You were talking about doing a workshop in Milwaukee. You said that people could come to L.A. or they might be auditioning here, or say in Chicago or the Midwest. They don't have to necessarily come to Los Angeles. But there are things like Actors Access and Now Casting and other websites. There are casting directors today and actors today have greater access to each other than probably any other time in history in worldwide. So being prepared and doing your programs and doing acting classes and things to get that leg up, it's not unrealistic to think that someone could be auditioning for you through the internet someday, or already are.
Yeah, it's absolutely a reality these days. We, again, our producers expect us to look beyond our own borders in Los Angeles or New York. We are expected to look everywhere for talent. And one of the things we talk about in the seminar as well is how to properly prepare yourself for putting yourself on tape online. And there are effective ways of doing that, and there are some disastrous ways of doing that. And we'll also address that area, which I think is really important now, especially for actors who are putting themselves on tape for any project who cannot actually appear in the room with a casting director. And we are more than willing to look at actors from anywhere in the country or the world who might be right for our projects. And it gives us a great opportunity to find talent and save time and find the right person or the right cast for our shows wherever they come from.
That's very cool. That is truly very cool. We have about 10 minutes left, and in that 10 minutes, I really want to give you that opportunity to talk about anything that you want to talk about, or what you would like to share with actors who might be attending the workshop, and those who can't or won't. What people need to know, and what people need to understand, or anything for that matter. Just open it wide up.
I know we're talking specifically about acting, about auditioning, and I'm glad we are, and it's always great to talk to you, Rex, because we always just seem to have time to talk about a lot of different subjects, and I love that there's no. I mean, we've been going for an hour here, and I hope everyone is enjoying this, because it's just a great opportunity for any actor or anyone in the business to hear perspectives, and thank you for giving all of us an opportunity to do that. But it's we talk about acting all the time and auditioning, but it's also about creating a life and for yourself and an experience for yourself out there in the world that isn't just about acting all the time, and it isn't just about the business all the time. I always find the most interesting people are those who have other interests too, who are working with charities, or they work with kids, or they have a passion for travel, or for literature, or music, or sports, or anyone who's got a fire in their belly about something else in their lives that gives them pleasure. Also, I find consistently make them more interesting people, make them more compassionate people, make them more involved people in the world, and that is always appealing to me in actors. And actors who are just about themselves all the time, or just about acting or auditioning, or I know you have to be devoted and committed, but you've got to leave room and the availability for outside influences and outside passions and outside hobbies, family, friends, that give your life meaning beyond the camera. And so I always encourage actors, and I encourage myself too, to travel, to meet people, to continue to develop relationships out there in the world, and develop friendships, and experience life, so that it gives our lives greater meaning. And I think all of that tends to carry over into our work and makes us people who other people want to talk to, other people want to get to know, because we have maybe a unique perspective or insight into the world that they would like to have. And so I just encourage everyone out there listening to make their lives, to create as much of an experience outside of the business as well as inside the business, because they are related. But boy, interesting people to us when we talk to them, especially when we interview actors and just get to know actors. I don't care what's on your resume. I can read that. I don't need to know that you did this show or that project. I can read that on the back of your resume. What I'm really interested in is who you are as a person, what makes you tick, what excites you, what brings you, what passions you have, what passions you want to share with people. That's what's really interesting to me, and the rest is technique and training and everything you put on top of that. But for me, it's all about who you are and our level of attraction to you as people.
That's really, really very cool, because after all, acting is just one of the many things that occur in a life, and people can become overly obsessed and overly focused. And I really appreciate you bringing us around to that again. And in doing so, let me ask you this protocol too, because I am with people constantly. I'll be with a director friend or producer friend. Some are highly visible, some are not so much. But when the people find out that they're a director, typically an actor runs off to their briefcase, goes, "Here's my picture and resume," and throws it at them. Hands it to them. Or a screenwriter runs to their briefcase and pulls out, 1 or 10 screenplays and goes, "Here's my screenplays." And if you're out for dinner and you're, interacting in everyday life and enjoying your life, somebody comes up and the first thing they do is, it's one thing to hand somebody a business card and say, "I'd like to remain in touch." It's another thing to expect people to carry things. How do you can you address that? For actors, I know they're exuberant. Sometimes they don't think, but I don't think. But is there a way to more successfully navigate an introduction with a casting director or director or somebody in the business to maybe get you if you're the one introducing yourself, get them to at some point request your materials as opposed to just slapping them at it?
Well, that's a really great point. Casting directors, we all have to expect that actors are going to want to introduce themselves and get in front of us. We understand that. There are smarter ways of doing that than others. We appreciate the passion and the exuberance that they and their desire to get in front of us. The best way to do that, many of us have websites now. We have emails. We're on Facebook. It's a relatively unobtrusive way to approach us and introduce yourself to us. And I would do so. I would never be shy to do that with a casting director or someone that you want to introduce yourself to. You don't want to approach a casting director and say, "Hi, my name is Susie Smith. I'm moving to Los Angeles. Can you help me get an agent? I have everything it takes to become a star, and I want you to be a part of my journey." I mean, there's a certain naivety there that will elicit a click of the delete button pretty quickly. We rarely, if ever, respond to that. We want your approach to us to be respectful, not overly long, and you might tell us, what, I've researched you. I like the shows that you work on. I understand you are an educator as well too. I'm learning my craft, and at some point I'd like to come to Los Angeles, and could you recommend a few acting teachers, or are you teaching somewhere? And then I'd be happy to turn them in the right direction and begin a conversation with actors, because I'm always recommending great acting coaches to those who are coming to Los Angeles. So there's just be respectful, be humble and modest, and don't ask for the world. Just an introduction and a desire to learn more about the business is a great way to approach us. In Los Angeles, I get approached all the time by actors who say, "Oh gosh, I came in to audition for you," and then please remind me of your name. Because we see a lot of people and actors come up and just expect me to know who they are and say, "Hey, my name is, and I came in for you, or I did a workshop with you, and I just wanted to thank you and let you know, here's my card, and if you think there's anything I might be right for, please keep me in mind." It's really that simple. Come in with a smile, confidence, a certain level of assurance, and don't feel like you're taking our time. If for some reason you get a vibe that we're really busy and we're involved in something else, we'll let you know, and then you simply excuse yourself and say, "Thanks, I don't want to take your time, but I just wanted to say hello." And then just leave it at that. But always, you've got to put yourself out there, everybody, and I think we expect it. There are just smarter ways of doing that than others.
Oh, very cool. Very, very cool. Let me check the time here and see how we're doing. We have a few minutes left. And there was a point I wanted to make about that, and I forgot. So what I'll say instead is, again, remind people that your website is paulwebercasting.com. It's paulwebercasting.com. You're also on Facebook. You've got a friends page there that people can go to. I think Paul Weber Casting on Facebook as well. And
yes, actually, the best workshop, I think, for actors, or the best Facebook page for me is the Paul Weber Workshop Intensives and Coaching. And that's an area that I keep actors updated as to what I'm doing and some helpful tips occasionally that might help them in their work. But if you reach me on Facebook, I can always direct you to that page. And in fact, one actor that I'll be working with in Milwaukee has emailed me, and we're having a little conversation at 10 o'clock. He's going to be in the workshop and had some questions, and I'm going to give him a ring in about 45 minutes, and we're going to spend a few minutes one-on-one in advance of the workshop.
Oh, that's very cool.
Yep.
Very, very cool. Someone made the point. They said, exactly, the work of acting is reflecting life itself. They suggest volunteer work, being great with people, always being passionate and curious about life. That's a part of being human. And then asks a question separately, but later. Says, Paul, do you prefer Twitter, Facebook, follow-up contact through the website? What is the contact info that you feel most comfortable giving actors now or listeners now? Would that be what you just said, the Facebook Paul Weber?
The Facebook page, and if you go to my website under For Actors, it'll give you a link, and I believe that directs you also to the Facebook page, but the website gives you background on who I am, what I do, and what I'm doing in the future that you might find fun to watch. And there are a couple of videos as well too. So you're more than welcome to approach me on either. I am just putting together Twitter. I know I'm like way behind the times on that, but for right now, the best way is Facebook or my web page, and I'll get Twitter up there, I promise. Yeah.
Well, you go ahead. You were going to say something?
Nope. You're going to say something.
Well, I was going to say that to remind people that, again, the opportunity to meet with Paul and work with Paul in Milwaukee is coming up. We've got today's the 2nd of October. So it's the 13th of October. It's a Saturday from about 10 in the morning till 4. If you're anywhere in the listening area and you'd like to sign up for the program, you want more information, you want to register today in advance of the program, because that is really what you're going to have to do. Email me through rexsikes.com. Go to my official website, Rex Sikes Movie Beat, go to the contact page and email me from there. Or Facebook message me from either my profile or any one of my Facebook pages. And I'll be sure that you get the information needed so that you can attend the workshop. And a great workshop it will be, and a great opportunity. And I'm thrilled that you're going to be in this area and have the opportunity to see Milwaukee talent and meet with them, and that they have the opportunity to meet with you and have a professional like yourself from Los Angeles come and talk about and advise them, talk about, look at their pictures and stuff like that, and their scene work. But to have that contact with the West Coast here in our city, and I'm a transplant here, so this is very meaningful to me to have someone of your caliber here working with the talent in this area. I think that's outstanding.
Thanks, Rex. I'm really looking forward to it, and I have not been to Milwaukee before, and I've been to a lot of places in the country, and I know they've got a great theater community there as well with the Milwaukee Rep, and I'm a great appreciator of theater, and maybe I'll catch a show there in the evening, and I think we're going to be at the Art Institute of Wisconsin, which I'm really. We're
going to be at the Art Institute of Wisconsin. Yep, it's in the 3rd Ward. It's at the corner of Buffalo and Milwaukee in the 3rd Ward. And 3rd Ward is charming old town area of Milwaukee. It's I think a great place to be in the Art Institute. The Art Institute of Wisconsin is been here a few years. They're a film school, and they are doing really well. So I'm excited to have the workshop at the Art Institute. I think you'll like Milwaukee. You'll have a taste of Milwaukee. We've got a lot of good filmmakers here, a lot of good artists here, and actors. Struggling, very much a struggling area. We lost our incentives back in 2009, and the film community has not really come back since. No God, No Masters was shot here in 2009. That's going to be showing at the Milwaukee Film Fest this Sunday. And the director will be in attendance, and they're coming in. It's a movie starring David Strathairn and Sam Witwer and Ray Wise and others, and Eduardo Ballerini and people. And so we're excited to have them back and get to see the movie that they made. But other than that, and Transformers and Public Enemies, we've lost our movie connection. So you represent, West Coast connection, coming here and inform us on what's going on out west.
Well, thanks, Rex. And I think that's maybe even, interestingly enough, a great reason to further your education is even in areas that are affected by incentives, you want to be as prepared as you can be when those opportunities do come along, because there aren't that many during certain periods of time in certain areas to audition. So when you do get a chance, you want to make sure that you are one of the actors that are appreciated and recognized by a producer or director as being someone that they want to work with, simply because you don't get that many opportunities in the area to audition. So hopefully this will give some actors tools that they can keep honed so that when those opportunities do come about, they'll be ready.
Well, a very, very good point. And that's not to say that there aren't movies being made here. There are, and some are union and some are non-union. But there's Chicago is in our shadow, as we like to say in Milwaukee, versus the reality of the situation. But there is Chicago, and there's a lot of work in Chicago for actors, SAG actors and otherwise. And with their 90 minutes, it's a train ride. It's people can be down there and meeting with casting directors, producers, and directors on a daily basis. So if they're prepared, they've got that extra edge in a large commercial market. One of the third largest markets in our country. So.
Yeah, Chicago is a fantastic market, and if you're a Milwaukee actor auditioning in that arena, you want to be competitive with those actors as well because they're right in your backyard.
Oh yeah, and there is a lot of competition down there. Absolutely. Well, Paul, I want to thank you so much. I just let you have the last word if you'd like to wrap it up a couple minutes and take it from there. You have been a wonderful guest. This is our third interview, and in just about 10 days, we're going to see, well, I'll see you in 9 days, but we're going to have a workshop in about 11 days, and that will be just a really true, rare, and wonderful opportunity here in Wisconsin, in Milwaukee.
Well, thank you, Rex, and am I going to miss Oktoberfest?
I went to Oktoberfest about a week ago. I don't know how long it goes on. I went. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it's the first time I've been to Oktoberfest. I came in one time from Los Angeles in the '80s, and flew in and had a date with a girl who took me to Oktoberfest. And this is the only second time I've ever been there was like a weekend ago or so, and or a week ago, not this past weekend, but a week ago. And I don't know, but there's plenty of stuff going on here, that's for sure.
Well, let's find it. I've got German roots. My dad was born in Frankfurt, and I've never been to Oktoberfest before, and I know Milwaukee's got some great German roots. So we'll find it.
Well, and we have great. If I don't know if you like German food as much, they've got a great German restaurant that is downtown that you might enjoy, and other things. So. We'll try and find a way to keep you entertained while you're here.
Thanks. It won't take much. I'll be
okay.
I'll be entertained and have a great time just working with the workshop folks too. So looking forward to seeing you in less than a couple of weeks, and thanks again for having me on. And we'll see you in Milwaukee.
All right. I'll talk to you in just a moment or so once I sign off the show and just a debrief, and then thanks so much. See you soon.
All right. Thank you, Rex.
All righty.
Bye-bye.
Mr. Paul Weber, again, check him out, Paul Weber Casting on workshops on Facebook, and paulwebercasting.com is his website. Be sure to check out my website, rexsikes.com. And there's in the hot news section, there's information on Paul's workshop right there. I forgot to mention that before. You go to hot news on rexsikes.com, and you can read about the workshop, then contact me through the workshop, or contact me through Facebook about how you can attend, and we'll try and make those arrangements for you so that you can be there on the 13th of October, 2012, at the Art Institute of Wisconsin in Milwaukee. All right, everybody, I appreciate that. Also, a reminder, please go and check out Serum, the movie, on Facebook. Check out our Indiegogo campaign. Go to Indiegogo and check out Serum, S-E-R-U-M, just like Truth Serum, S-E-R-U-M. Look at the videos, look at the gallery, donate what you can, help us make our goal. We're a long way away from our goal with some time remaining, so help us make our goal and get some great rewards and perks in return for that, and support into filmmaking that way. I certainly appreciate it. And you can follow me on Twitter at RexSikesMovieBT, RexSikesMovieBT on Twitter, and RexSikesMovieBeat on Facebook, spelled out the whole way. There's also a YouTube channel, Rex Sikes Movie Beat, with some videos from, there's some video from Serum, and there's videos from short actor interviews and celebrity interviews and things like that. All right, everybody, have a fabulous day. Make your movies, complete your projects, and until we meet the next time, that is a wrap.
Blog Talk Radio, where millions of hosts and listeners gather.
That's a Saturday. If you want to know more about it, you can email me right through the website here at rexsikes.com. Go ahead and hit the contact page and say, I want to know more about the Paul Weber Workshop. I want to attend, and it will send you out the information and the registration. But without any further hesitation, let me bring Paul on. How you doing, Paul?
Hey, Rex, you are a smooth talker, I tell you. You're good at this.
Well, thank you, sir. I have a little bit of a frog or a little bit of a tickle in my throat today, so, and if I sound particularly nasal or anything, I appreciate that. Thank you.
No,
and
you have a memorable, distinctive voice. Let's just leave it at that.
Okay. We'll leave it at that. How you been?
I'm good. I'm really good. Thanks so much.
That's very cool. That's very cool. So how's Hollywood? We're in Milwaukee, and it is a beautiful fall day. What's it like out there for you?
Well, I'm looking forward to coming out there. Here it's going to hit 100 again.
Oh, cool. I love that.
It is, well, not so cool.
No, it's hot. It's hot.
It's actually really hot. So, it's funny here. People, complain. It's actually great weather, but...
Yeah.
It's hot, but people, complain. Here we are in the middle or beginning of October, and we've got 100 degrees. So, I'll take it. It's beautiful outside, and every day is a good day. It seems to be in Los Angeles because we're just blessed with this kind of nice sunny weather most of the time. But I love fall weather, so I'm looking forward to checking out Milwaukee. I hear it's going to be, I think, in the 50s or 60s.
It could
probably.
be. It could be. We have had Octobers that are in the 70s and 80s. We've had Octobers that are in the 40s. So it could be anything. Right now, I don't know what it is. I didn't check, but I stepped outside in a T-shirt a little while ago, saw my kids off to school, and it was pleasant. It was a nice day. But my guess is it could probably be between both mediums with ease. For series television, for example, Paul most notably cast the widely popular Stargate franchise for the Sci-Fi Network, and other TV credits include Spartacus, God of the Arena for Stars, and the recent Spartacus. She Spies, Poltergeist, Dead Like Me, The Outer Limits, Picture This, Legally Blondes, starring Ashley Tisdale, War Games 2 and Into the Blue, as well as The Initiation of Sarah, Cutting Edge for ABC Family. Lifetime credits include The Haunting on Sorority Row, starring Leighton Meester, and the pilot Flashpoint. For the big screen, he's advised on numerous MGM features, including the blockbuster James Bond franchise, Fame, Zookeeper with Kevin James, Hot Tub Time Machine starring John Cusack, Red Dawn with Chris Hemsworth, Josh Whedon's Cabin in the Woods 3D, The Time Machine starring Vin Diesel, and The Hobbit, directed by Peter Jackson, and so much more. He's now a fully independent casting director and producer. He's busier than ever, so that's why we're glad that he's here today. His current feature projects include Beulah, starring Dakota Fanning and Ryan Philippe, The Unexpected with Paul Giamatti, The Stupidest Angel, based on the best-selling novel by Christopher Moore. TV series projects include The L.A. Complex, I believe premiered on the CW, and Spartacus Vengeance and Noir for the Stars Network. So without any further hesitation, I'm going to bring Paul on, and he'll tell us and catch us up to more of what he's doing. I also want to say that we're having Paul come into Milwaukee, Wisconsin on October 13th to run a program, a casting director program, seminar, workshop, whatever you want to call it, for actors primarily and directors who want to learn how to be more professional, want to learn this business, the nuts and bolts of how to book more work, how to cast better, and make a difference in their career. So we're going to have Paul talk a bit about that too. It's Milwaukee, Wisconsin, October 13th. Now they want to get so many people I know go to LA. I get letters all the time saying I'm going to move to LA. I get this from all around the country. I'm sure you do too. I'm going to move to LA. How do I get an agent? And I always think that's not necessarily the first thing you want to do when you get to Los Angeles.
Unless you come off of a high-profile Broadway show, or you have a boatload of professional theater credits, or you've done some independent films that have actually created a bit of buzz in local film festivals, so that you can come to the table in Los Angeles and meet agents who feel like there's something here that they can market. Typically, that doesn't happen until you arrive, because you don't have that resume and you're just starting out. And I typically tell actors, listen, don't come here expecting to get an agent right away. Come here and learn, build your foundation, build your contacts, work, train, develop a resume, even if it's non-union, and that's perfectly okay. You can do webisodes, you can do short films, you can do independent non-union films. You can build a reel for yourself so that when the time comes, and it may be a year, Rex, maybe 2 years before you have a portfolio that you can actually approach an agent with and say, hey, this is what I got. This is what you can use to pitch me to casting directors. This is what I can show you that will give you confidence in me that I am marketable and I'm ready to get out there and professionally audition. When that time comes, and it may be a couple of years, then you'll have a nice portfolio to show. But actors seem to be so anxious in getting out to Los Angeles and getting an agent right away. And you got to realize that agents have lots of clients, and many times they're only looking to add clients that they...
Around the 50s, so be sure to bring something warm.
I will. I'll be layered.
Yeah, be layered. Well, that's a Californian for you.
That's right.
we in California, most of our wardrobe's in their trunk.
Yeah, that's right. I'll be layered with 3 T-shirts instead of 2 when I come to see.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Right.
Well, let me start off by saying you've done a lot of traveling lately, and you do a lot of these programs around the country, and not just around the country, but around the world. And so let's start off by first saying the purpose of the program, why you do these educational programs for actors, what that's all about. And then let's talk about where you've been with the program.
For sure. I think what I find so often is so many actors, even actors who go through professional training programs, come to Los Angeles and they are at a total loss as to how to negotiate the landscape here, as far as finding agents, as far as looking for the right classes, and most of all, in terms of how to approach a professional audition. They never got anything like that in acting school. And I think acting schools are terrific. I think that's where actors get their foundation. But there is a bit of a disconnect between what they get in foundation and education and training for an actor, and then the practical realities of having to audition in the room for a casting director or director or producer and bringing up an A game based on their training, but the tips and the tools they're going to need to actually compete successfully in a very competitive market.
Well, okay. I mean, I think workshopping is great, and I know a lot of people spend their lives workshopping, because they should, frankly. I mean, if you're a professional actor, you continually stretch and work yourself out in the same way. If you're a professional athlete, you go to the gym. I think that's important.
Blog Talk Radio, the world's largest online radio network.
Welcome to Rex Sikes Movie Beat, conversations with filmmakers, where we discuss everything film and television. Here on Movie Beat, you'll learn what to do and what not to do when it comes to making movies and TV, and we will talk to everyone behind the scenes and in front of the camera, and I'll provide you with the guests and the information you're going to want to have, whether you're a filmmaker or a fan. So now let's move behind the scenes here at Movie Beat. My guest today, returning guest, is Mr. Paul Weber, casting director. I'm going to tell you more about him in just a moment. I'm thrilled to have him back, and also, the chat room is open. It is open, and we are live, and so if you're listening live, you can join us in the chat room. The official URL of Rex Sikes Movie Beat is my name, Rex Sikes. I'm your host. It's REXSIKES.com. You can listen from there live. You click the link inside my guest biography page. It says listen here, and you can listen live or you can listen archived, because all of these interviews, over 300 hours of professional filmmakers, directors, casting directors, actors, producers, writers, and more, everyone behind the scenes, are there archived for you. And you can listen anytime, 24/7. They're also available as podcasts at the iTunes Store. Download them to your favorite electronic device. Now, all I ask of you to do is tune in, listen, and share. Share it with your friends, your industry connections, share it near, share it far. And when you listen live or archived, please leave comments at the player window. Please rate and review the podcast. That helps us reach others and makes us more available and accessible on the internet. So I really appreciate when you do that. Let me tell you about my guest. He's returning to the show. Paul Weber, a CSA, casting director, is one of Hollywood's most respected casting directors, and he was the former longtime head of television casting and feature film consultant for MGM Studios. Paul Weber effectively moved